So today I'm gonna be showing you how you can make some dark synth trap beats. It's really gonna be inspired by like Future and Money Man, but really just have fun with this. It's gonna be very synth heavy, a lot of reverbs, a lot of dark synth sounds. With that said, I have the perfect analog lab bank for these types of beats. My brand new Gloom analog lab bank is up. You've heard me talk about it, or if you're in the Discord, you got a little preview of it. There's 53 presets in it. As you can see, there's different basses, flutes, guitars, bells, synths, leads, pads, pianos, plucked basses, soft bells, soft synth strings, all that stuff. You could see a preview in the description. I've been working on it for a few months now, and it's honestly some of my favorite sounds that I have sound designed. First sound we're going to use from this right here is Synth 4. So we're at 152 for the BPM. I'm going to go over to the MIDI keyboard and record a melody. All right, so as you could see, let me quantize this real quick. All I did was utilize a B minor chord. So it's B, D, and F sharp. So if I were to play that out right here. So here's the chord right here. We have the root, the third, and the fifth. So I took the third up an octave, which is what you see here. And then I took the fifth and I'm playing it kind of like an arpeggiated type thing and bringing the F sharp over here. And then we have the F sharp moving to a G and back to an F sharp. So that's just going up and down by one semitone. And that's always going to give us that tension. And then again, over here, we're moving from D to C sharp, which is down one semitone as well. So from here, what we can actually do is duplicate the B down here and drag this out. And with this synth specifically and all these sounds that are in this bank, they sound really good when they're layered with like a lower chord. So let's actually duplicate this over. And then for the second half of the 16 bar, we're going to go over here and move these root notes. So we can actually just go down the scale. Let's hit A right here. And then we could bring this one over to G. So we're literally just going right down the scale. Over here, we got to move these as well. And then the only other thing I'd want to do probably on the end over here or right here is actually change where these notes are hitting. And the only reason I want to do that is so that we do have a change here, but I don't necessarily want the top line to be so repetitive. We'll hold shift and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll see that C is outside of the scale. So what I'm actually going to do is just take these and go up 1, 2. All right, so I got all the velocities locked in. Everything sounds good. The last thing I added was this quick little part at the end, and all we're doing is running up the scale right here, but it adds in like this cool little flavor to the end of it, which just accents those changes that we did even more here. So let me let you hear it from the end. So for the processing, all I did was cut out a little bit of low end, as you could see right here, and then a little bit of Valhalla Vintage reverb. I have a pretty short decay on it. We're utilizing dirty plate, and the mix is brought down pretty low, and then a little bit of low cut and then high cut. The next sound I'm going to use is Bell 5 right here, and it sounds like this. And with a whole bunch of reverb, that sound's gonna go crazy. So let's just go ahead and layer that in. I'm gonna copy over the MIDI from the previous synth, but I'll probably take out the super low notes, so it's just really giving us that melody line, and then we could just add a whole bunch of reverb to it to wash it out. For the processing, I cut out almost all of the low end right here, and then a huge reverb with Valhalla. It's up to 90% on the mix, a 7-second decay, which is a super big reverb, and then again, I'm cutting out a little bit of high end and a little bit of low end. And now let me show you how that sounds by itself, and then we'll add it in with the other synth melody. So then layered together sounds like this. We're slowly getting there, and you hear that nice ring out of that reverb. It sounds perfect. So one of my favorite things to do for these beats is to layer in a piano that plays the root notes, but like super, super low, and then cut out all the low end from it, so that you're really just hearing like that mid-range, but it just adds like a lot of grit and a lot of like undertones to it that just make it sound a little bit more dark, a little bit more evil. So back in Gloom, we're gonna get piano 7 for this. I'm gonna let you hear what it sounds like. There is 7 pianos total, so we're gonna utilize the last one, but let me show you. So it's a real smooth piano, but it does have like a dark texture to it, and a lot of them actually do in that bank. Some of them have like a lot of low end cut out too, and then they have like a preamp on it, so it just sounds like real evil. It's like perfect for like a 21 Savage vibe. But let's just go over here and let's layer this in. We can bring up the velocity pretty high, so we're just gonna follow these root notes down here. So first thing on is an EQ. Like I said, I'm cutting out all the low end from it, and I am shelving a little bit of the high end out, so it's just a little bit darker. It's already a pretty dark piano, but I want it to be, even darker for the type of beat we're making. Then that's followed up by a little bit of RC20, and all that's going on here is this distortion tab right here with some tube saturation. And then to finally complete all of this, I'm gonna add in a synth lead. So we're gonna utilize synth 5.2 right here, and it sounds like this. Real nice synth lead. We're gonna add even more reverb to it to tuck it in the back. And now I'm just gonna try to come up with a lead for this, so I'll probably skip forward because it's gonna take a little bit to like figure out exactly what I wanna play. And then what I think I want to do is go into Splice and probably find like some type of violin lead or something that can add to it, and maybe a vocal from Arcade. So I'm gonna jump forward and do that because it does take quite a bit of time to do that. We'll add it in, hopefully it works, and then get to the drums. All right, so this is actually turning out crazy. I found a really good violin sample inside of Splice, and then a nice vocal that complemented the melody well inside of Arcade, and then I ran it through a little bit of processing. I'm gonna show you all that, but let me show you how it sounds now just by adding in those two things. I love when you're like completing a melody and you could kind of already hear the drums. Like right here, when I have those 808s drop in and they're hitting the soft clipper with like an open hi-hat, this gonna, come on. So I found this inside of Splice right here, and I just like cut it in half. It was pretty much this repeated over. And then over here, I brought it up by a whole octave. And then over here inside of Arcade, let me show you real quick. I was inside this bank right here, and I went ahead and utilized this. So those are both going into the same effects processing. Forgot to mention, if you don't have Arcade and you want to try it out, there is an affiliate link down in the description where you can get a 30-day free trial of Arcade. So EQ, whole bunch of low end cut out, some of the low mids, a lot of the high end is shelved out. Then a reoccurring theme, it's an EQ followed up by Valhalla Vintage Reverb. Then we got Kickstart 2, and Kickstart 2 is what's giving us that ducking feeling, that sidechain feel. So now I'm pretty sure by the time I'm editing this, how much I did to the melodies, that this video is probably pretty long. So I'm just gonna cook up the drums. You can watch what I'm doing, and then we'll get to the 808 at the end as always to just add it in and finish off the beat. So for the 808, I do this in some beats and it usually works. I'm gonna see if it works for this, but I'm gonna start the 808 at a higher octave, then like kind of space it out and then drop to the lower octave. So B is our root note for this. So I'm gonna start off on the higher B and then drop down and see what we could get going. I think it will sound pretty good. Let's turn these up a little bit more. I should do a reverse too. Let's clone it. Hold on. That's hard. When it drops right here, that goes crazy. Bro. What? Yeah, this is... Then another one here. Oh, wow. These reverses, yeah, these sound good. Higher. Maybe here. There we go. And then one down here longer. Like a build up. Yeah, this sounds good. This is exactly how I wanted it to sound. That real like synthy vibe to it, but then just really hard hitting drums. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. We're going to hear the beat at the end, but if you are interested in the new Gloom Analog Lab Bank, make sure to hit the link in the description to go get that. And there's a preview of all the sounds on there so you can hear them before you go ahead and get the bank. Other than that, I appreciate you watching again. Let's hear the full beat.